In the 1840s, a young and restless United States, barely 60 years old, looked west and saw not just empty land, but divine destiny. The doctrine of manifest destiny, preached by newspaper editor John L. O'Sullivan, that it was America's God-given right and duty to stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Texas, settled largely by Southern slaveholders and adventurers, had broken away from Mexico in 1836 after the Alamo and San Jacinto, but Mexico never accepted the loss and still claimed the land all the way to the Nueces River. When Texas was annexed as the 28th state in 1845, Mexico broke diplomatic relations. President James K. Polk, a fierce expansionist from Tennessee, deliberately provoked war. He sent General Zachary Taylor with 4,000 troops deep into the disputed strip between the Nueces and the Rio Grande, then dispatched John Slidell to Mexico City with an offer to buy California and New Mexico for $30 million, an offer Mexico angrily rejected. On April 25, 1846, Mexican cavalry crossed the Rio Grande and ambushed an American patrol. 16 U.S. soldiers lay dead. Polk rushed to Congress, shouting, "American blood has been shed on American soil." And on May 13, 1846, war was declared, though many Northerners, including a first-term congressman from Illinois named Abraham Lincoln, denounced it as an immoral land grab to spread slavery. The war unfolded on three great fronts. In the north, Zachary "Old Rough and Ready" Taylor defeated larger Mexican armies at Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma with superior artillery and flying horse artillery tactics, then crossed the Rio Grande and stormed the fortress city of Monterrey in brutal house-to-house fighting that left streets running with blood. In the far west, Captain John C. Fremont and American settlers in California staged the Bear Flag Revolt, while Colonel Stephen Watts Kearny marched 1,700 miles from Fort Leavenworth to capture Santa Fe without firing a shot, then pushed on to California, where Commodore Robert Stockton and Fremont completed the conquest. But the decisive campaign belonged to General Winfield Scott, Old Fuss and Feathers. In March 1847, Scott carried out the largest amphibious landing in American history until D-Day, putting 12,000 men ashore near Veracruz. After a 20-day bombardment that reduced the city's walls to rubble, Veracruz surrendered. Scott then marched inland along Hernan Cortez's old route, defeating Santa Anna at the mountain pass of Cerro Gordo by sending young captains like Robert E. Lee and George McClellan on daring reconnaissance missions that found a hidden trail around the Mexican flank. One by one, the defenses fell. Contreras, Churubusco, where the Irish deserter battalion, the San Patricios, fought to the last man rather than betray their adopted country, Molino del Rey, and finally the desperate assault on Chapultepec Castle, where 6 teenage Mexican cadets, the immortal Niños Héroes, wrapped themselves in the Mexican flag and leapt to their deaths rather than surrender. On September 14, 1847, American troops raised the Stars and Stripes over the National Palace in Mexico City, the halls of Montezuma, and the Mexican capital fell. Santa Anna fled into exile, and on February 2, 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed. For $15 million and forgiveness of debts, Mexico ceded over 500,000 square miles, fully half its territory, including present-day California, Nevada, Utah, most of Arizona and New Mexico, and parts of Colorado and Wyoming. Just days before the treaty, gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill, and the California gold rush began. The war cost 13,000 American lives, most from disease, and made national heroes of Zachary Taylor and Winfield Scott, both of whom rode victory straight to the White House. Yet it also tore the nation apart. Northern Whigs and abolitionists saw it as a slave power conspiracy. Ulysses Grant, who fought in the war as a young lieutenant, later called it one of the most unjust wars ever waged by a stronger against a weaker nation. The new territories reopened the explosive question of whether slavery would expand westward, lighting the fuse that would explode into civil war just 12 years later. The Mexican-American War was over, but the American Civil War was now only a heartbeat away. Subscribe for the next part. The bloodiest chapter in American history is coming soon.